that one kill, dude. Yo guys, welcome back to another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I am your host, Borito, the #1 CDL ESPN analyst / content creator in the world. And guys, today is Monday, but it's not just any Monday. It's not just any Monday. This Monday, October 20, 2025, this is the day of Burrito. This is my birthday. Yes, my birthday is October 20th. This is Burrito's birthday. I am recording this podcast on a Friday night. By the time you guys listen to this, I will be still in Vancouver on my birthday weekend trip. I am taking a weekend trip with my significant other, if you want to say that. It's not official yet, but it's pretty much there. We're going on a trip to Vancouver. Gonna go watch the Vancouver Whitecaps. God, is that the team name? I'm gonna go see Thomas Muller in person. I'm so excited. And then we're just gonna do a lot of stuff around Vancouver the whole entire weekend. Flying back in Friday morning. Sorry, I didn't interrupt the podcast. Monday morning. I'm flying back in home Monday morning. I'll be home Monday afternoon, but I accidentally said Friday when I watched this back. Whoops. Gonna be home by like Friday afternoon. Gonna see what's popping then. But yeah, it is my birthday, so by the time you listen to that, I don't even like announcing my birthday, but you know, I'm filming this in advance. That's how you guys know I'm professional. I'm filming this in advance on a Friday night before I pack, and yeah, gonna try to render some time. So this might be a little bit shorter than an hour. This time I'm not winking or nudging. I just came up with a nice quick topic. There's probably gonna be a lot of points I leave out, as you can see from the title of the video. So it's probably not gonna be an hour, but you know, give you guys some here on a Monday, and then next week and even going into the week, I got some great topics coming because there's really nothing to talk about. So we're gonna be talking about some past history stuff. Gonna be taking you guys on a deep dive into players, maybe doing a whole podcast on players. But before we get into the main topic, I wanted to play this clip from the Stay Attached podcast with Simp, and you know, like, you'll just see after you hear. So okay, I'm just gonna explain it anyway. This is Simp talking about how they never really had a system in Hardpoint the whole time they played. Guys, if you're on video, are we serious? You know, I've talked about this throughout the years with my subscribers, with the people who watch my videos, about how like FaZe didn't know what to do in Hardpoint. A lot of people agree with me, but there are some people that did not. And I'm like, dude, it looks like they have no idea what they're doing in Hardpoint. He pretty much answered everything I said. I'm like, how does this team look like they have no idea what they're doing? I had people tell me, it's a BZ, he's a 3-time world champion, 2-time world champion. Like, you know what you're talking about. And then you have Christopher Simplier saying this.
Hardpoint was like your guys' most inconsistent game mode.
Yeah. Well, I feel
compared to anything
our
else.
fundamentals have always strayed, like at least towards the later half of the year. Like the last 2 years, I'd say, like, I feel like our fundamentals kind of go from like a moderately good spot to where we can actually win.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, I wouldn't say we've like convincingly won hard points really ever. You know, we've always kind of been like on top, but not necessarily like convincingly in hard points.
It's a little mixy. It could be a little close games, like someone pops a
never been
three-piece.
like slamming people. It's like not like Cold War, you know what I mean? Like that's a
Yeah.
year where I look at and I'm like, okay, we went into a hard point and I knew we'd probably win by like 100, like on most of the series. And I don't think we've had really a system like that kind of in like recent times. And I mean,
Ever.
now with this new squad, I think with the, you know, if the fundamentals
All right.
are right on, I think kills are going to come your way no matter what. You'll be put in better spots to get a 2-piece.
Okay, so I just want to elaborate on this real quick because even in the Cold War season, I've watched back some of their Cold War games, and I don't think it's that much different from how they've always played Hardpoint. I just think the difference was the spawns were a lot normal in the game, and they were just way more talented than everybody in that game. So I think that skill difference really showed in the scoreboard. But if you really watch how they played some of the hardpoints in Cold War compared to how they play now, there's not that much of a difference. There's a lot of sloppiness. There's a lot of lack of rotation or rotating early and getting broken. But they were just so good at the game. Okay, my bad. I gotta stop doing Chris dirty like that. And that screenshot, that was a bad, that was a bad still. Like he looked like he was drunk. Yeah, but they never really had. Yeah, it's never looked convincing to me, like ever. Even in Cold War, like they were really good at Cold War. Yet you watch them and they were just way too good. They were just way too skilled. But if you actually watch their hardpoints, go back and watch their hardpoints. I actually implore you to watch some hardpoints. This is actually going to make a topic for a new good YouTube video. I'm going to go back. I'm going to pick some random hardpoint from a random game, and I'm going to watch it. I'm going to pick one against... I'll pick one against, like, Rocker or something. I'll pick, like, a random one. I won't pick one against Ultra. Maybe I'll do Ultra. Actually, that's what I'll do. I'll pick one against Rocker and one against Ultra. Just, like, a random team and then, like, a better team. And we're going to compare how they played hardpoints. We'll even find two of, like, the same map. So you can actually see. Especially, like, on Garrison. But granted, that map is a little bit close. But hearing this, okay? Hearing this, it's not shocking to me. It's more shocking hearing him say it. It's more... Because it's like, I've, for years and years, felt like I was crazy. I'm like, they're, like, so good, yet I'm saying they can't play hardpoint. And people are like, man, you have no idea what you're talking about. And then players come out and say this stuff. This just validates to me, I should never think I'm crazy for saying anything that I truly believe is true. There's so many things I think that it's like, if I say it, it's like, okay, what is this guy talking about? Like, you know, he's not a tenured pro or what. Like, who is this guy? What is this guy talking about? But I am no longer going to think I'm crazy for any of these takes I'm saying. Almost like me saying the Black Ops 7 maps right now are not going to be good. Just watch. Wait until we play the game. It's going to be like Black Ops 6. Everyone thinks it's good. And then you queue in and they're not as good. And then Black Ops 6, they spent the whole year dropping DLC maps that were the size of a toothpick. Like, every map was just a square box in the DLC. Like, everyone's thinking, oh, like, maybe these new DLC maps will come and, like, save us. All small. Anyways, I really want to go back to, like, the coaching staff, but I'm just, like, mind blown at what he said. I personally think, honestly... From the bottom of my heart, guys, and you know, this has to come from a deep place. This needs to come from a deep place in order for me to say this and put this out in public and really believe it and know the backlash that's going to come from random people I have no idea and don't care about saying stuff, and I'm just not going to care. I honestly feel like I could outcoach pretty much every coach in the league. Obviously, there's coaches that have tenure and may know, like, some stuff, you know, that I don't know, you know, like, I don't know any, like, the technical background stuff. But when it comes to getting a team to perform to the best of its ability and doing homework on other teams and going into matches prepared, I think wholeheartedly I could outcoach every single coach in the league. Every single coach. If I had that LA Thieves team fucking last year... Ain't no way I'm losing champs. Ain't no way I'm losing champs with that team. That was literally the best team in the game. How did they get double first rounded? And that's no disrespect to these, like, coaches. Or, I mean, it's disrespect to some of you, okay? It's disrespect to some of you. I'm not going to say names. You know who you are on the bottom end. Actually, no, like, you don't know who you are. Never mind. Yeah, but I'm just thinking, how does a team like this... how does a team like Atlanta FaZe not have any structure in hardpoint? And I got two coaches, and even Simp later in this interview So this is not me dogging anyone. This is me saying what he said and talking about it. So Sim said later in the interview that like Crowder is more of like an overseer. He's more of a person who hears what's being said and bounces off of that. He's not like the person who watches and goes like, hey, I'm sure he does probably sometimes, but the way he's saying it, he's pretty much saying RJ's essentially like the main person, like in game, doing all that stuff, and Crowder like sets up after. I'm just curious. This has to be on the players. And I'm not talking about all the players. I'm talking about half the players. You know who you are. They aren't on the team anymore. And even I'm probably gonna say Simp as well. I would honestly put my money on Draza being the most coachable player and the person that takes the info given and implements it, but it's not being implemented by everyone else. That's what I would think. But yeah, I'm just thinking, how does a team with these 4 players and the 2 coaches, like RJ, from everything I hear, is a very good coach, a very good guy, a student of the game, very knowledgeable, calls a lot of stuff out. And then you got Crowder, one of my favorite Call of Duty players of all time. I know a lot of people probably aren't going to say that, but I just loved his aura, his mentality. I loved how in World War II, he would be 3-piecing Optic, doing 1v3 clutches on Artemis Force, like every time he played them, and the camera would turn to him, he'd just be yawning. He's just bored. He's like, dude, I don't care. Get on to the next round. Like, just the aura on that guy. Like, oh, you know? I'm just curious how a coaching staff like that and players like that can't get this team to have some sort of a structure and play a certain way to get consistent results. Like, a team with this high of a skill level should not be as inconsistent as they are in Hardpoint. And I just can't help but think, I'm not just talking about FaZe, I'm talking about everybody. Like, I'm saying this with my chest, and I know a lot of people aren't gonna like it. It's not gonna get me a job or anything, guys. So don't say, oh, like, what do you do? Okay, I personally think it's just hard to fathom that either coaches aren't doing a good job or players just aren't coachable. It's very hard to like stomach that. Like, it's so mind-blowing to say that I think the most coachable team in the league is Optic. And like, that's why they wanted to. I know it sounds crazy because the majority of the year, like, they're playing bad, but I think that was more because of personnel, honestly. That was more because of personnel and being stubborn, playing the way they were playing with certain personnel, had to learn to adapt. But then, like, they found a person they could play their way around, and it worked. I think they're the most coachable people in the league. Like, Shotzi strikes me as a person who, obviously, you know, you hear people saying, "Oh, Shotzi's the type of player, like, you don't tell him what to do," but like, you know, he's the type of player that would listen if, like, hey, like, we have to do things this way. Obviously, everyone has, like, their way of playing, but as a team on the map, like, there's, like, certain things we just have to do, certain fundamental things we have to do to benefit the rest of the team. Everyone on Optic strikes me as, like, people that would actually listen to that. As for everyone else in the league, I'm not sure. Like, there's certain individuals, but I think there's just a lot of players that just don't learn. You know, and that's going to get us into our next topic. But yeah, that's just me talking about FaZe. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I always knew they're bad at Hardpoint. Now hearing him say it pretty much validates everything I've been thinking. And it sounds crazy for him to see. I'm shocked he even, like, said something like that. It's probably going to go under the radar because it's like, it's not like on, like, the flank or, like, whatever. Not saying, like, attach is not big, but it's not like on a crazy public forum that everyone's listening to. Like, he's dropped a lot of podcasts with, like, a lot of pros. I haven't seen anything get clipped. So, I mean, that's crazy for him to say. And actually, like, admit it. I'm actually happy he said it because now I'm not crazy about it, but that's crazy to just say, like, we've never really been that good at Hardpoint. Like, why is that? And why is that acceptable? That just couldn't fly to me. Back in the day when teams were so skilled, it was like an automatic map 1 win. Like, if Complexity ever lost like a map number 1, you would think that team is freaking disbanding. Like, the map 1 was an auto win. But for some reason, some of these higher skilled teams, it's like they're more focused on, I mean, I know this FaZe team this year was took a lot of pride in their S&D, but S&D, no matter how good you are at S&D is losable. It comes down to rounds. You have 1 life per round. You can be very good at S&D and win a majority of your S&Ds, but you're more susceptible to losing S&D than you are losing hardpoint. So, something I just want to talk about, just a nice little topic. We'll see how long this takes us. But I wanted to talk about things that players need to do to get back in the league. Because at the end of the day, most of these challenger players are trying to get back in. A lot of newcomers or like a lot of people on the come up that maybe don't know their name. But I could have a different list for people like that. This is more for the standees, the exceeds, the Yulis, the bracks, the people that are like close trying to get back in. But it goes for pretty much everyone. If you're a newer player, I could have a way longer list of just like even more basic stuff than this that you're probably not even thinking about. But sorry, gonna take a sip of my water before I get into this. That must be terrible audio. I don't know. I actually might cut those out. I don't know. We'll see. So I spontaneously made this list in like 8 minutes. There's definitely some more things I could add on to it, but I'm kind of on a time crunch. Need to pack. Need to render this in time before I leave, so I have something on the docket for Monday morning. Some for you guys to listen to. So maybe I might elaborate more on this next week. Who knows if you guys are interested. I'm just going to go off these points because I'm a yapper, so we'll see how long it takes me. So point number 1 that I put on this list from people, what things people need to do to get back into the league and to be noticed. Be undeniable. Be the best at your position. Okay? A lot of these points are going to backpack off of each other, so I'm going to be saying some points later on. They're going to be coming back to this point, and this first point is definitely going to be something we bring up later. But being undeniable, being the best at your position. There's a lot of players who complain about, I just like put so much time in, not getting back in, etc., etc. The number one thing, besides the thing at the bottom of the screen, for those of you on video, you could see it. If not, if you're on audio, it'd be great. Wait until the end. It'd be a nice little surprise to see what's on the bottom that you can't see that everyone else could see. Being undeniable and being the best of your position is pretty much undisputed, like the best way to get in. I'm going to use the example of Scrap. Obviously, in Vanguard, he was really good, and he had that game that he came up for Ultra when I think like Cammy or someone had like the flu. I think it was Cammy or someone. They were sick and he came in. Being undeniable, being the best of your position is always going to get you in. If you are undisputedly the best AR, like an Abuza, you're going to get in the next year. If you're the undisputed best AR like Scrap, you're going to get in. If you're the undisputed best SMG like Hook in the beginning of Black Ops 6, you're going to get back in. If you're the best of your position, if you want to look at Vanguard again, Kismet and Havoc, and this is going to go to a later point as well. They were winning everything. Being undeniable, being the best of your position. For a period of time, Havoc was like the best SMG in Challengers in Vanguard. You want to know what that got him? Got him a spot back in the league. You could probably think of a million different examples, but being undeniable, being the best of your position is definitely like the best way to get back in. But that seems like pretty obvious. If you're the best person, you're just going to get picked up, right? So we might come back to that point later. On to the next point. Bring some value. What are you going to bring besides the fact that you're good at the game? You need to have some intangibles, whether that's knowledge, whether that's how you communicate with the team, how you vibe with the rest of the team. Obviously, you're not just going to get picked up based on just like vibes, but you need to bring some value. What do you bring to a team to make them better besides just being good? Quite simply, the best way to elaborate on bring some value is, are you a really good objective player? Are you a really good hill player? Are you really good at this one thing that's going to make someone on the team better? If you want to talk about Neptune, and Surge picking up. Granted, they went for Hook first, but pretty much almost like the exact same player. You pick up Neptune. What value does Neptune bring? He brings a lot of knowledge from challengers because challengers played a lot more, but he brings slaying as well. Slaying and pressure, opening up the map. All of a sudden you got Nasty, Abuza, 04 saying how much easier the map and the game feels with a person like Neptune on the team. What value do you bring besides just the fact that you think you're good? What value do you actually bring to a team? Are you good at slaying? Are you good at objective? Are you good at bringing it? Are you good at tying everything together? Are you good with communication, calling out for people when they aren't necessarily talking? Are you a merc who could just do it all? Like, what value do you bring? Bring some value. It's not just about being a good player, but you need to bring value. What does a team value that? And that's pretty much going to go to that point. I'm going to skip ahead of this one to get to that. Find what teams need. This is what ties in to bring some value. Find what teams really need. If you're a challenger player throughout the year and you're not keeping up on the pro league and what teams are doing bad, what teams are lacking, and what you think teams need to give you the best possible chance to get picked up, then you just don't want it enough. You're just not doing your homework. You're being lazy. You play the game all the time, but you're not doing the extra. There's an extra thing out of the game that gets you picked up, and it ties in a VOD review as well, but that's going to... I mean, I'm basically tying in like the other point. It's actually at the bottom. So I'll skip over that. So we're going to tie in these ones. Bring some value and find what teams really need. Seattle Surge or Vancouver Surge, Black Ops 6, they're getting torched. You see the team of Hixie, Nasty, 04, and Abuza. You're thinking this team is just getting pwned and respawn. What does that team really need? They need a Slayer. They need a faster sub. That's what Neptune brings. You look at Optic. What does that team need? They need an AR with more pace, someone that could bring the best out of Shotzi and Hook. An AR who's faster that could get on the hill more to free Hook and Shotzi up to do something. I'm sure Merc didn't plan that, but it's just the way he played, and it just coincidentally got him picked up. Find what teams need. Maybe some teams need like a really good bomb carrier, but not just a really good bomb carrier, but a bomb carrier that could hold his own. Like, not just like, no offense, not trying to put anyone on the bus, but a Sensor. Sensor's a really smart player, by the way. Like, he's actually a very good player. But I'm just going to use him as an example. Like, you want a good OBJ player, but you don't want an OBJ player that's like dropping an 0.5. You know, you want someone that can hold their own. You want an AR, but you want an AR who actually holds pre-aims and could actually win his gunfights. You know, find what teams really need. You see a team struggling, what does that team need? What can I bring, or what can I do to my game to make this team really want to pick me up? Every team needs something, because at a certain point, these teams struggle. Teams are bad at S&D. Maybe they need a really good S&D player. Are you good at S&D? Maybe they need a really good hardpoint player. Are you a good hardpoint player? Maybe they need a good control player. Maybe their third game mode is slacking and they need someone that's really good at that game mode. Find what teams really need. Perfect that. That's another small thing that I don't think a lot of people keep up with, because like sometimes it actually does come down to that. You've seen examples. I can't think of them off the top of my head, okay, because I just thought of this topic today. I needed something to put out. I'm sure you can find lots of examples of things people need and they picked up people specifically for that reason. Even if it's at the end of the year, people got picked up for those reasons. Some I put on there that I didn't really want to put on there. Can't be toxic unless you're really good. I mean, it's pretty much... I want to use like Gunless as an example. And I just heard his podcast with Attach, and I kind of feel like me and Gunless are synonymously in the same position, except I'm not trying to be in the pro league. I feel like Gunless, for example, is very misunderstood, and the way he talks to people who just are not intellectual at all and have no critical thinking, Gunless could come off as very very acrimonious in his speech. Very acrimonious in his speech. Very bitter in his speech. You know? But if you're actually friends with him or you actually knew him, you actually see he's actually like just a very misunderstood. But this pretty much ties into, I'm just gonna use examples like Hydra, for example. Obviously, like when Hydra came in, I mean, obviously he's new, didn't really speak English that much, but now Hydra is like undisputedly like the best player in the game. So now he can do whatever he wants, and you know, no one can really do anything about it because he's undeniable. He's like literally the number one point, beyond undeniable. And I actually might go back to these points after when I start thinking of more examples. And I'm not saying like after you get really good, you should just be toxic, but I'm essentially saying if you're not there yet, you can't really be toxic unless you're really good. If you're like a Scrap, like Scrap is an exception because Scrap in Challengers, he was frying and he's, you know, he's being a personality. That was not really toxic. I don't think anyone really found Scrap toxic, but he's trash talking everyone, but it's because he could actually back it up. Don't be toxic unless you're really good. There's nothing worse than a really bad player who's also just not fun to be around, or you just don't want to hear his voice. That is like the ultimate, you're just never getting picked up, you know? That is the ultimate ugly stepchild, you know? That's what that is. Can't be toxic unless you're really good. You should be really good. And I want to tie back to the be undeniable, be the best of your position. We could talk about Pred when he first came into the league. And that's him just being in the league. I mean, I can make a separate video once you're in the league, things that you need to do to stay. Even though I don't know the behind the scenes, but I could use that as an example. Being undeniably the best of your position. AG, regardless of what you want to say about his play style, I am probably the number one advocate for how terrible his play style is, okay? But I'm also an advocate for how good of a player he is. And you see some of these criminal plays he's making. I've been watching back his gameplay, and there is some putrid stuff, okay? There is some stuff. There's some stuff. There's some stuff that makes me, I don't even know like the word. I don't even know the word. There's some stuff that just makes me really, really sad. Makes me really, really sad just watching it. But he's so good that he keeps getting back onto teams. You know, when you're undeniable, you're in the best of position, you're just always going to have a chance, I guess. I guess it's just the way it works. But, you know, there's been examples like, actually, I can't even like say that. I can't even say. I was going to use Standy as an example, but he had that good Cold War year, and then he was there the next year, and it was an average year. So, you know, but AG's always been like up there in performance all the time. So he's always just had a good rep, and, you know, he's friends with people as well. That's something I did not put on here, but I think it's pretty obvious. You need to be good at networking. You need to be a sociable person. I'm going to add that one in because I think that goes under the radar because we're in a generation where people are growing up on a screen, not going out as much, not being put, not even having to be put into situations where they just have to actually be a normal human being and talk and engage with people on a daily basis. You know, it's very easy nowadays to just be locked in your room, not doing anything. You have your phone, you have your everything to entertain you. You don't have to go outside and go meet people. You don't know how to like look people in the eye. You know, I could use the example of Aches. I'll use the example of Aches. Okay? Even Aches past his prime was still getting onto teams. And you could say his past his prime was like AW. If you go after AW, you know, I don't even know what game was after AW. What game was after AW? I forgot. Anyways. But Aches is a personality and is a very sociable person. And he always evoked a persona, an aura, a personality of someone. The best way I can put it, like someone who always just felt like they were above you, if that makes sense. Like he had like that aura. He's a very sociable person, not afraid to say stuff. He's not antisocial, knows how to talk to people. A very good talker. Like a lot of people will tell you that. A very good talker, knows how to like win people over, knows how to get in people's heads, knows how to convince people, knows how to manipulate. I don't know about the manipulate part, but people have been saying that, you know. You're like nameless saying how much of a finesser Ix was. Okay. But being sociable, guys, it's 2025. I know we're in a different generation where people feel like they don't have to talk, and there's a lot of pros in the league right now who, without even knowing, I swear I heard like Tactical Rabs say it, and I've heard some other players say it. I've even heard what's his name? Omit Rafi. I've even heard him saying like a tweet before, you know, half these pros, like when you meet them in person and like they like shake your hand, like they don't even like look you in the eye, you know, just basic stuff like that. You need to learn how to talk to people. You need to learn how to talk to. This is not just a CDL thing, getting picked up on a team. This is a life thing, okay? As I try to focus my camera here. This is a life lesson, and it works in every aspect of life. Knowing how to talk to people, knowing things to say that could like make people feel a certain way, whether it's good or bad. You know, you have to learn to talk to people. If you're someone that knows how to talk to people, has friendships, someone that's very likable, that could boost your percentages. If you're just like a good player, but it's like you don't talk to anyone and no one really knows you, you know, your odds go down. You need to be either undeniable or win a lot in order to not be sociable. But still then, being sociable goes a long way. Being sociable goes a long way. Being someone people actually enjoy. I think that's another reason why people like AG are still in the league. Granted, I mean, just off of skill, he's better than so many other people. So he's just going to be in the league just based off of that. But he's a very sociable person. He gets along with a lot of people. And I've talked about the DMs I've got from some players. Like, oh, if I made that play, you know, like I'd get kicked out of the league, but AG's still in there. This ties into it. Being a sociable person, that ties into it a lot. And another thing, being a student of the game. Being a student of the game, okay? And in brackets I put, don't be afraid to copy people. You need to be a student of the game. I know everybody already plays this game. Everyone who's in challenges or whatever already plays this game like 10 to 12 hours a day. But it's not just about playing all the time. What are you doing with your time, okay? And being a student of the game, the number one thing I recommend to not only players, I mean, coaches already do it because it's a part of that job, but players especially, playing or not playing or trying to learn more about the game, watch the freaking mini-map. The mini-map is where the magic happens. You find out so much from the mini-map, it's absurd. And I want to tie this into the people that have the luxury like to play like the game all day. From the minimum time I played, I barely played Black Ops 6. But from all the VOD I watched, every time I'd hop onto Black Ops 6, I just felt like I understood the game better. And I was just thinking, if I played this game 12 hours a day with the VOD that I watched, holy F, you know? And these players play the game all the time. And I think a lot of them lack a lot of knowledge because they don't know what goes on in a lot of situations. I know some of them watch VOD, but I mean really watch VOD. There should be some days on like your off days, obviously like, you need off days where you're just not watching anything Call of Duty, not doing anything Call of Duty. Everyone needs those off days. But there should just be days where you're just not playing and you're just watching. Like, you know, put some time into just watching. Maybe get on, shoot some bots for like a couple hours or play like some ranked or whatever. Play some scrims, hop off. Go watch VOD. Like, spend hours watching VOD. See what players are doing. See what people are doing. See what teams are doing. Implement that. Don't be afraid to copy is the follow-up to being a student of the game. I feel like a lot of players don't copy other players enough. It would have took me seeing Merc at Major 3. I think it was Major 3 where Beans had like that visa issue. it would have took for me just seeing that one major and then seeing major 4 how Optic was playing, and even champs if you want to use champs going in EWC, watching how Merc was playing at those events. If you're a player in his position, the second AR, the faster AR, and you're watching how Merc's playing in Respawn and how much better it's making that team, how are you not implementing that into your game? And then you want to go into champs, seeing how Optic's playing at champs, seeing the way they're playing hardpoint, and nobody's copying it. Nobody's even taking anything from that. Like, look how they're doing this over here. Like, we should like do this exact same thing or something along those lines, or take it into how players are doing this and how it affects the map, how it affects the other team, all these things. Be a student of the game in every aspect. Watch what players are doing. And this isn't just the mini map, especially if you're a Challengers player behind the scenes. Be a student of the game just hearing what players talk about. You know, be a student of the game in every aspect. Become whole in every sense of the word. Become an all-round complete player. And this is going to go back to a point that I went over again, but being a student of the game, very important in every aspect. If there's one thing I implore all you guys to do, whether you're just a casual, whether you're just a player, I mean, I'm sure a lot of players know about it, but a lot of players aren't implementing it. Watch the freaking mini-map. Watch the mini-map until you can't watch the mini-map no more, and then when you can't watch it no more, watch it even more. You will understand so much. And it's not even hard to implement the minimap into the game. When you watch the minimap enough, when you're in the game, you start to like see in your head what you would have seen in the minimap in certain scenarios. I'm telling you guys, I'm seeing that shit from just the small time play. I'm seeing that shit. Trust me, it's a thing. Trust me, it's a thing. And I might come back to that point, but I want to talk about this point as well. Don't be one-dimensional. There are so many one-dimensional players. And if you don't know what one-dimensional means, even though I think everyone who listens to me should have some sort of intellect to know, being one-dimensional is when you only know how to do one thing, and that's it. How that ties into even like the point above it, brings some value. How does being a one-dimensional player bring any value? Especially when it comes to roster mania. Let's say it's like the off season and teams are looking for players. Let's say you're just a Slayer sub, unless you're a Hydra, but you're not a Hydra. So let's say you're on the lower tier of just slaying SMGs. But a team already has that slaying SMG, but you're just a slaying SMG and they already have that, but they're looking for like another kind of SMG. But all you're good at doing is running around getting kills. You don't really like help them much in the objective. How does that benefit that team in any way? You need to be a one-dimensional player. Why do you think Envoy is in the league every single year now? He is a multifaceted SMG. He could slay if he wants to. He could play OBJ if he wants to. He could take routes if he wants to. He knows how to do every single role. He could be a secondary sub. He could be the main sub, even though he hasn't gone to be with the players he's been playing with. He's been playing with like Scump and Hydra and, Kleenex. He's been playing with top echelon SMGs. But that is a player that could do so much. He is probably the most multifaceted SMG in the league, so he's going to have a place every single year because he could do every kind of role imaginable with the SMG. He could play fast, he could play slow, he could do the in-between. He knows how to play every role. He's had the reps, he's had like the veteranship. Being a multi-dimensional player will open up more opportunities for you, especially even as an AR. You don't want to just be the slow AR. Okay, my team already has a slow AR. We don't want a slow AR. We need a faster AR. We need an AR who could do more in the hill. We need someone who could be on the pace with the SMGs more. Be a multi-dimensional player. If you're used to playing one way, and there's people like AG. I have to bring AG up again. He plays one way, but, he's like another point on here. He's undeniable. He had all the years... He had all the superstar years of playing, so, players just look at him highly. But if you're not on that level, even I fucking tell AG, I tell Hydra that. Like, obviously I don't tell them because I don't talk to them, but I'm saying it in my videos. They need to learn how to do other things besides just being like a kill hoary, not on the objective as much sub. because not only does it make your team better, it makes you better. And that's what if it makes you better and makes your team better, that's all that matters. It opens up more value. Imagine if AG also knew how to play like objective. He would still be on Optic right now. But Shotzi can't have that player on his team because he needs a player he could bounce off of. AG's not a player you could bounce off of. AG's a player where the other person has to be doing a certain thing, and that's it. How does that help the team? Because AG's not always going to be in those scenarios all the time, so it's like, and he's not always going to want to do that stuff as well. That's another thing. Like, he's not even motivated to do that stuff all the time. So how is that going to help? You need to be a multi-dimensional player. If you're only used to being an objective sub, learn how to be a slaying sub as well. Learn how to be fast. Learn how to be slow. Learn every aspect of being an all-round Call of Duty player. You're a professional Call of Duty player. You should be learning. It's like soccer. Like Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm going to use an example. Some people might be like, who the heck is that? Because not all you listen to soccer. He's a right back, but he has the skills and the qualities to play in the middle of the midfield. We see players like Kimmich, who's always been a central midfielder, also can play right back. You got so many players, and that brings value. That brings value to your team because you can play in multiple positions, especially when a person's not playing that position. You could fill that role. You see Gwyn now going from SMG to flex, probably like trying something out because, a lot of teams already have SMGs or they have his type of SMG, so now he's got to do something different. Being a multi-dimensional player opens the door for you. There's a lot of players and challengers that have been playing the same way over and over and over again, wondering why they're not getting in. You need to add more layers. I even admire ProLoot. So ProLoot basically did some off this list. He's basically doing two things off this list. He was doing it in Black Ops 6, but he didn't get picked up. Find what teams really need. ProLoot switched from an SMG to an AR because he realized, and it's still going into this year, there's not a lot of good ARs. Like, there's not a lot of fast ARs that could slay and be consistent in that way, keep up the pace with the SMGs, apply good amounts of pressure, and still slay super heavy, be really consistent. There's not a lot of ARs like that. So ProLoot said, I'm not going to be one-dimensional. I'm going to find what teams really need. I'm going to bring some value, so he switches to an AR. Granted, I didn't get him picked up because I think the sociable side of the game, could be lacking. He was supposed to be on like Falcons, and you heard what happened there, where like maybe the last time he was on, people aren't sure about his personality, whatever stupid reason that was. Like Ilusha got picked up. You even see like Exceed switching to an AR. There's people switching to roles that need to be needed, but that's just step one. It's not just about having one thing on this list. It's about having multiple. Finding what teams really need. Once you find what that team needs, don't be one-dimensional. Like, add some more things to your thing. Bring some value to that team. What can you bring to a team? Not just gameplay-wise, but social-wise, mental-wise, being undeniable, being the best in your position. If you're going to switch to an AR, become the best they are. See what the other top ARs, the other top SMGs are doing. Copy that into your game. I feel like a lot of players... I'm going back again because this is all I fucking wrote. I probably could have wrote way more, by the way. A lot of players just aren't students of the game. A lot of players just don't copy. I'm not sure if it's an ego thing. They don't like copying. Like, I don't want to be that person who's basically copying. Like, maybe it might feel condescending to them, that, they're copying. But you know what? No one's even going to care. No one's even going to care. That's all in your head. But if you see Merc doing something and it's working, copy that. I don't see players copying enough. Like, I'm watching Optic run away at the last two events of the year because nobody is seeing what they're doing that's working. And these teams are playing against them in scrims and they're not even like learning anything. They're playing you on all 5 maps. And then they're playing you on the 3 control maps. And you're not learning anything. If you're Boston, you're getting 250 to 80 like to Optic. How are you not learning anything? It's not just like, oh yeah, I guess we just got ran today. No, what are you learning? There's no such thing as losing. There's only such thing as learning. What are you learning from every time you lose? Okay, I just said losing. But what are you learning? There's always a lesson, even when you win. Like, I'm the type of person, even when I win, I'm searching for things I did wrong. Like, always searching for things to make yourself better. And I think that's also something. There's a lot of things I got to. This list could be way longer. This is just what I came up with in 8 minutes, okay? Not even 8 minutes, like fucking 5 minutes, honestly. It was like 5 minutes. I came up with this pretty quick. Yeah. And now I'm seeing I'm 15 minutes away from 50 minutes away from it being an hour. Wow. But I'm going to get into the last point before I think of anything else. And it is to win. If you're a Challengers player and you're winning, you're going to get in. You're going to get a chance in the league. Even if it's a little bit too late, even if it goes into next year, you're going to get a chance. There's not a player, there's not a team. Maybe there's like certain players. But the percentages are very high. If you're winning everything or you're up there all the time, people are going to notice you. That's the number one way to be noticed. Coaches, staff are always looking at Challengers. What's going on in Challengers? Who's doing good in Challengers? Who could we have on like the back burner in case like fucking something goes wrong? People are always looking. If you're like Havoc's team in Vanguard where you're streaming everything and you're winning everything, undeniable. Like Havoc and Kismet. I forgot who the other two players on that team were, but Havoc and Kismet got picked up. Challengers champs. I know it took a while, but Challengers champs, they won. Pretty much the whole team is getting back in the league or getting into the league for the first time. If you win, you're going to get into the league. Unless, I guess, if you're like Exceed, who like in MW3 was winning but didn't get picked up. But I think that has to do with like sociable and because he was in the league before. But even if you're in the league before, you just have to go back to being undeniable. If you're undeniable, you're going to get another chance. Because even Kismet was in like the league before, and then he got kicked out, and then he got Challengers. He came back in, and you want to know what Kismet did? The second time he got back in the league and he got into NYSL, you want to know what he did off of this list? Because not only was he was already not a one-dimensional player, he's a multi-dimensional player, but he brought value to NYSL. You even hear Krim talk about it, what Kismet brought to that team, like telling them how to play the right way, like what he brought leadership wise. He has value. Intangibles, leadership. Leadership goes a long way in the CDL because there's not a lot of leaders. There's a lot of followers, but there's not a lot of leaders. There's not a lot of alpha personalities. A lot of people will follow somebody if they have the aura, if they have the gameplay to back it up, So these are just some things. But yeah, winning. If you win, quite simply win. I put it at the bottom of the list, period at the end. Quite simple. If you win, you're going to get in. If you win, you're going to get in. It's as simple as that. Find a way to win without cheating, by the way. Don't be Jimbo. Find a way to win. Even if you're not playing good, if you're winning all the time, people are going to just think you know how to win. Like you found a way to always win, be consistent with winning. You're going to get in. Find a way to win, and you're going to get in. So now I'm just going to repeat everything on this list again for those of you on audio, just in case you forget, just to round up. I could add more things to this. If I had like a whole day to think, I may come back with like a part 2 maybe. But I wanted to rush this. We're at the 50-minute mark. I don't want to go I kind of do want to go an hour, so maybe I might take like a small break and come back and finish it off. Be undeniable. Be the best of your position. Bring value to a team. What value do you bring to a team to make them better, to make them want you? Don't be one-dimensional. Be multi-dimensional. Be good at more than one thing. Don't just be good at one way of playing. Be good at multiple ways of playing the game. Find what teams really need. Because yes, you could be a good player, but if a team doesn't need a sling SMG, then they're not going to need you. Find what teams need. And that ties in with being multidimensional. If you're slaying SMG, but that's not what the team needs, you're also really good at objective. That could get you into a team, and you could be a good slaying objective SMG, you know? Don't be toxic unless you're really good. And that ties into being sociable as well. Obviously, I'm not the type, I'm more old school. I'm not the type of player that says, like, kiss ass, like, you know, be super nice, but you can't be toxic. That's the reason why Dante in the beginning couldn't get onto a team, because people just didn't like how he acted, and he changed the way he acted, and now he's a staple in the league. A team took a chance on him, and now he's in the league all the time because he's a good individual player, but he's just not winning anything. Be a student of the game. Don't be afraid to copy. Don't be afraid to copy some if it's working. If someone is doing something and it's working, don't be afraid to copy it. I see so many times. LA Thieves goes on like a 12 S&D streak. The teams are like, what are we going to do about it? See what they're doing and copy it. Duh. It's not that deep. And then win. You need to be a winner. Obviously, there's people like Scrap who, I think they won like some Challengers Cups or like whatever. I think they won like some events. I don't know. I have to go back on it. But they didn't win champs, but he was undeniable. But if you win, you're going to get in. If you're winning, you're going to get inning, you know? If you win, you're going to get in. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up with a point I didn't include on this, but this ties into a whole other topic, and this goes off of the video I just made about Gwyn, which I'm going to be editing the thumbnail and uploading. It's already uploaded. It's really been uploaded the whole day, but I was at work. I couldn't upload it. I left it rendering because I passed out last night. It was supposed to be up actually Friday morning, but I passed out all Friday, and then I didn't have time. I had to go to work. Learning how to play the game the right way. Learn how to play the game the right way. I'll actually even type it here. Learn to play the game the right way. I should just play the game the right way. And I'm going to elaborate on this because I just talked about Gwyn. Granted, Gwyn's going to be getting back into the league next year, it looks like. But learning how to play the game the right way. And the reason why this is a very important thing is because in Challengers and CDL are two different ways of playing. And a lot of people may hear that, and a lot of you guys may be confused, like, what does that really mean? I'm going to elaborate on it. I'm going to elaborate on it for you. So in Challengers, there's a lot less organization. There's a lot more superstar actions. Like, let's just say there's a lot more hero playing in Challengers because there's a lot less structure. It's more up for people to just like run around and go crazy and have like takeover games. Obviously there's some structure, and you see the teams like the Omit team that won, like on paper, the team they were against kind of looked better than them, but the way they were playing was very structured, and that team couldn't do anything about it. Learning how to play the game the right way. So like in Challengers, I can't even say it's more fast paced. It's just a lot more chaotic. There's a lot less organization. It's like the wild west. When you get into the league and you're playing teams that are a lot more organized, there's a right way to play and there's a wrong way to play. And when Envoy's saying Gwyn doesn't know how to play the game the right way, not playing for the win, that ties into it. Because I think in Challengers, like, you're always like focused on trying to get up, so you're always thinking you have to do good. Like, you can't be putting up Hixie score lines, otherwise you're gonna be like retiring like Hixie. Like, a good player, but very misunderstood because people don't understand the value that he brings to a team. And you know, his stock kind of got ruined by back-to-back years, him getting dropped and getting Pack-a punched on, and the other team like doing better. Granted, that Ultra team actually did better because like they won as well. Playing the game the right way can get you some places, because when you're playing the game the right way, do you want to know who notices more than anyone? When you're playing the game the right way, when you have a good arrow, as they like to say, and that just means doing the right things on the map. You know, you got your timings down, you understand the spawns, you understand where people are coming from, you understand what you have to block according to kill feeds. Like, 2 guys died, I should be going back here to make sure they spawn over there, you know, things like that. Do you want to know who notices when you play the game the right way? the top end of the league, the top players, the really good players notice players who play the game the right way, because not a lot of people on the bottom half of the league play the game the right way. A lot of them play like challenger players, or a lot of them just play like they don't know what they're doing at all. Playing the game the right way gets you noticed by the right people, and those people will notice if you are doing it and it is working. You will get picked up on a team if you're playing the game the right way. And you'll get picked up on a good team if you're playing the game the right way. So if you want to talk about Gwyn, granted, he did get into the league. You know, he played Challengers. He won Challengers Champs that one year. I think it was MW2. But now you see what he's doing on the league with Carolina. He's still playing sometimes. He's playing his life too much. Too afraid to die. I made a whole video on it. I highly recommend you go watch. It's 43 minutes. Haven't done an analysis thing in a while. So, I mean, you know, very good listen. If you're trying to learn things that will help you get better Call of Duty, that video would be great for you. Learn how to play the game the right way, and the right people will notice. Keep that in mind when it comes to being a student of the game, bringing value to a team, being multidimensional, being undeniable. Keep all those things into account, but learn how to play the game the right way. Don't just be like a kill whore, but you're not playing the game the right way. If AG was in Challengers, like let's just say Pred. If Pred was in Challengers, granted he was in the Australia thing, no one's watching that. That's not even like broadcast anywhere. If Pred was in NA Challengers playing like he played now, that could get him onto a team, but people would see how he's playing. And it could have maybe put him in different circumstances. Who knows? But he was playing undeniable. Play the game the right way, and you'll get picked up on a right team. So, with that being said, we're not quite at the hour mark yet. I think we're like 5 minutes away. Oh my God. I really want to fill up this 5 minutes. So I'm just going to do 2 inspirational quotes. Hopefully I yap for 5 minutes, and then, we'll be off. I guess my streak is just going for, my streak is just going for hours every single time. Just going for hours. So I am going to do my inspirational quotes. Okay? So I got 2 inspirational quotes for you to end off this episode of Borito Talk Podcast, send you on your way into a happier Monday, into a happier week. Go get after it this week. And I guess I could talk about me a little bit when I get into this. Change your thoughts and change your world. That is a quote by Norman Vincent Peale. I don't want to F up that last name. I probably did. But this ties into something I also saw. Basically the exact same quote. Change your perspective, change your life. When you change how you think about things, you will change your life. When it goes from, oh, I had a bad workout at the gym, I'm mad, to, yeah, I had a bad day, but now I'm so excited to get after the next day because I'm going to do way better. All of a sudden, your day is completely flipped. When it goes from, I got rejected by a girl, to, it's okay, that's just one girl, like there's more girls out there, you know? Simple things like that where you could change your perspective. That stuff could even be put into Call of Duty. Yeah, I didn't work on this team, but I just got to like keep grinding again to another team, you know? As simple as that. Change your perspective, change your life. And then I'm going to get into this quote by Steve Jobs, the GOAT. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Are you loving what you're doing? Like, you know, I'm not talking about like your job, because, you know, a lot of people are just like have a job to make ends meet. But outside of work, are you doing what you love to do? Because that's how you really find fulfillment in your life. And I know a lot of people, maybe they're trying to find their thing that you love, and you will find it eventually. You just have to keep looking. And a lot of times it'll just like come to you, like, I really like this. I really love making content. I really love doing like the takes that I make. These hour-long breakdown videos. I'm not forcing myself to do an hour-long breakdown video. I love making these hour-long breakdown videos. Like, I get a joy out of it. I get joy out of this shit, you know? I love what I do. The only way to do great work is to love what you do, and I think I'm doing great work because I love what I do. It's not the only thing I do. I do a lot of other things I love. There's a lot of other things I love, and that's what makes life fulfilling, when you love what you do. Find what you do And realize that sometimes things that you love to do are going to come with an asterisk. They might come with opinions from the outside, like my thing. I can't say a single Call of Duty opinion on Twitter without people saying, oh, I'm toxic, you're always complaining. But they don't even know that's just how I talk. I'm not actually complaining. I'm trying to debate. I'm trying to get people to actually have an intellectual debate with me. But if you don't understand me, like, you just don't know. And I have to accept small things like these because I love what I do. I love what I'm doing. I love the content I'm making. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. And I'm going to leave that quote there. I'm 1 minute away from reaching the hour mark, so I'm yapping. I might do some Q&As at the end of this. I might start doing some Q&As at the end of the podcast. If you guys just have any questions, maybe. I don't even know. I'm not sure if I'm even on that level to have a Q&A at the end of my podcast. I guess if you want to include the intro, I'm already at an hour right now. So, I mean, I guess it all works out. But, guys, enjoy your Monday. Enjoy your work week. Get after it. Find what you love to do and keep going. And the thing about grinding, one last thing I'll say, the thing about grinding, it's not just about doing the hours every day. It's about making the most of what you're doing. You could do something for half an hour and still get probably like the same amount out of, probably get even more than doing the exact same thing for 2 hours. If you're just doing like watching VOD for half an hour over playing the game for 2 hours, like you could probably get more out of that half an hour of VOD review than that 2 hours of playing, you know? Make the most out of the time that you have. It's not about doing things for a long time. Sometimes it's about small bits of progress. They add up. If you want to like learn a new language, for example, even just putting in 20 minutes, you'll look back 3 months later like, wow, it actually added up. As opposed to if you like, let's say you wanted to learn like Spanish and you started for 1 day and then the next day and then you kind of dragged off after the third day. And then 3 months later, you're like, wow, if I was doing Spanish every day for 10 minutes, where would I be like right now, like this 3 months later, you know? Always, that's the number one thing that'll make you think like, wow, if I was doing this for this amount of time, where would I be right now? So whatever you're thinking about doing it, do it. You don't need to do it like, take your time, do it bit by bit if you have to, get into it if you love it. I mean, like you'll do it a long time anyway, but slowly progress, build, you know, that's just the way. But yeah, this has been Burrito, guys. Have a good work week. Be fearless. I'm voicing my opinions fearless, even though everyone's judging me because I love what I do. Take that into account. Use me as a beacon for some sort of motivation, maybe. But yeah, this has been Burrito Talk on a Monday. This has been Burrito. Bada boom, bada bye. We'll see you next time. Cheers for watching.